Now, since Nigeria's latest return to democracy in 1999, the political scene has been dominated by two political parties. At any point in time. At this moment, it is the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party. But not too long ago, a third political force was brought to being by a former governor of Kano State and one-time Minister of State for Defense, Dr. Musa Kwankwaso. The new Nigeria People's Party has been eating up the political space in that part of the country ever since. So what is the secret and how prepared is the party for the forthcoming elections? Well, joining us now to go through all of this is Dipo Olayoku, a seasoned journalist, National Secretary of NNPP and Chairman of the party's Convention Planning Committee. Unfortunately, we've not been able to link up with elder statesman Buba Galadima, who we were told was going to be lined up for part of this conversation. But welcome to the program, Mr. Olayoku.
Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Viewers, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, so I want to begin this conversation from a different stance. Now, the NNPP, very interestingly, has come up to, be a third face here, going against two heavyweights as we've known it. It has also declared itself amongst other mandates as a party that strongly prides itself in being closer to the grassroots than any other party. Could you talk us through your ideological beliefs in terms of how what you espouse as a party and how you intend to improve the socio-economic status of Nigeria's masses?
Thank you very much. And once again, Nigerians, good morning. I think there's a need for us to correct this narrative. The issue of the third force does not arise again. I think when we're talking about the new Nigeria People's Party, I think we are talking about the only force. How do I mean? Because that is talk of the town. Anywhere you get to now, people are talking about new Nigeria People's Party. Yes, you see, we derive our strength from the birth of this party. Because many Nigerians always talk about NNPP being a new party. NNPP is not a new party. It's a party that was registered in the year 2001. That means we are over 20 years of age by now. And it derives its roots from the Nigerian maritime industry. How do I mean? Because the person behind this political party, Dr. Boniface Okechukwu Anebonam, when he got into the maritime industry, I looked at the terrain and discovered that a lot of Nigerian youths were being marginalized in terms of what was happening at the ports. So he decided to form another association at the ports called the National Association of Government-Approved Freight Forwarders, where he tried as much as possible to professionalize the business of doing exporting and importing. But at a stage when the association seemed to have stabilized, he then looked at, okay, if you want to make any meaningful change or impact within the Nigerian society, especially in the maritime industry, perhaps there's the need for you to look at how do we influence how policies are being made that affect the industry. And it's like when you're outside governance, it might be difficult for you to do this. That was why he decided to say, okay, maybe there was time then for NAGAF to have what he called a political wing. And that was why New Nigeria People's Party came into being, to look at how people in government can influence, or the party can influence what is happening in the maritime industry. And we have been systematically building our structure since then, up till when the year 2019 came, and then we came up with a bank to the extent that we have representatives in the legislature in Bauchi State. We won election at the national level, the senator, but typical of Nigerian politicians, they stole the mandate. And then that's looking at the evolution. That will let you know how we derive our power from the grassroots. Because throughout these years of 21 years, we were trying to identify the problem with the grassroots, especially because this is a party that grew out of the grassroots. And all of a sudden, by February, March this year, the really explosion in quotes anyway, came when the Nigeria People's Party went into a collaboration with the Kwankwaso group, and that was why how the former governor of Kano State and the former minister for defense, Senator Musa Kwankwaso, became the leader of the party. So if you look at how we have evolved in the past 21 years, you will understand that we have a pact with the grassroots, because the essence of the New Nigeria people, NAGAV, which gave birth to NNPP, was how do we empower the youths? How do we take our youths out of violence? And we demonstrated this when we started NAGAF in all over Nigeria. When you get to the ports, either seaports, airports, or every entry point, you will see our youth that have been gainfully employed through this process. And so, for New Nigeria People's Party, it is not a new thing. It's like we are in our natural terrain, our habitat, when it comes to associating with the grassroots. And now, going forward, because let me tell you, the season is here. It is not that the elections are around the corner. No, the elections are here. And everybody is realigning, re-engineering, because the essence of this thing is that we have been practicing this current dispensation since 1999. The question you ask yourself is, how has it impacted on the life of an average Nigerian? Well, the answer is known to everybody. Nigerians, at times, it is very, very sad that when they consider their lifestyle now, they said it's like things have gone from bad to worse. And that is why Nigerians are now beginning to look, maybe there's a need for us to look elsewhere beyond the traditional two political parties that have dominated the political scene. And that is where the New Nigeria People's Party stand shoulder high, because it provides a new narrative for Nigerians. Because you have to look at our incident, like I said, from the port, what we have been able to do as an association, and then translating it into a political party. I think this is where our strength is coming from. And that is why Nigerians seem to be embracing the party, because it's spreading like a wildfire. Everywhere you get to, it's always in the news what is happening across the country. It is not only restricted to any part of the country, it's just across the country. Because as National Secretary of the party, as the man in charge of the Convention Planning Committee, at times I wake up, at the end of the day, I ask myself, is it a course in a coach that my number is put on the website as the contact person for the party? Because it's not a matter of exaggeration. In a day, I receive more than 80 calls of people from all over the country wanting to join us, asking for the processes of joining our party. I think we are good to go as far as 2023 is concerned.
Dr. Olayoku, just sorry, I need you to please clarify something. For a party that claims to be that close to the grassroots, the question earlier, the second arm of the question is like, what are your intentions? What are your plans for should you come into power? What are your plans for this grassroots? I think you missed that. So you've spoken about empowering the youth, but what are your plans? It's a strong statement to make, to claim that you're close to the grassroots. But what does your manifesto say about what you're going to do when you're in there, when the party takes over power?
Yes, that's why I said it's not a matter of we are going to do, it's a matter of what we're able to do even as an association. And that's exactly, it's just a matter of building on what we did as an association. Because if you look at the problem of Nigeria, unfortunately, the people are being referred to as the common man, but we don't see them as common man. We see them as the real man of Nigeria. And that is the target of our party as New Nigeria People's Party. Because they have the mass of Nigerians are in this category they call the common Nigerians or common man. And that is why we have, in terms of, because if you look at our logo or the logo of our party, it's a food basket that has all the fruits that God has provided as food item. Because we believe that when you take hunger out of the problem of a human being, I think you are almost reducing poverty by 80%. That is why the issue of agriculture is very, very paramount to us as New Nigeria People's Party. And that is why if you see our logo, it's a food basket. Because we believe that Nigeria as a country has been endowed by the Almighty to be able to feed ourselves. Because we have the land, we have the population, and we have whatever it is, even before the advent of technology in agriculture. If you look at Western Nigeria, under Papa Awolowo, all development you see in Western Nigeria came through agriculture. Either the cocoa house, the stadium in Ibadan, and a lot of that. And that is why we identified this fact that there's need for us to intensify the issue of agriculture. Agriculture is very, very important to us. And like I said, the logo of our party its food basket. Yes, we have the population, like I said, and you see the advantage we have now is that the advantage of technology, because there's a need for us to employ technology to cultivate the land so that our people, but to even buttress that, there's a need for us to also look at the issue of security. Because the problem Nigeria has with food production now is insecurity. When people can no more go to their farms, either male or female, male have been kidnapped on their farms, female have been harassed on their farms. And that is why Nigeria, the new Nigeria People's Party, is going to take the issue of security very, very seriously. And interestingly, the national leader of the party, that's Senator Musa Kwankwaso, when he was the Minister for Defense in this country, and you compare that with today, you will know that there's a wide gap, or a world of difference between the security situation when he was the minister. So we have the experience. So the technology, the technique that he brought to bear that made Nigeria to be safer then than now. Because like we said, we need security for people to go to farms. So if we're able to tackle the issue of security, that people will be able to go to farms and do farming, I think for number one, we are able to tackle the problem of hunger. And you see, agriculture can employ the mass of Nigerian youths that are now the problem of this country.
All right.
A friend was telling me a story or something happened.
Sorry to jump in here. I mean, it's really not a campaign season yet. Now, you have said that the NNPP is not a new party, but it is relatively
NNPP.
new, yes, because basically you guys revamped it 2 months ago. What gives you the confidence that this new Nigeria People's Party has the political structure to destabilize, the ruling All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party to produce the country's next president? Secondly, like you said earlier, your candidate, Musa Kwankwaso, right, has secured votes of the popular Kwankwasia movement in the north. But what political structure does the NNPP have in the south, and how confident are you that your candidate will be able to gather enough votes from the south?
We are very, very confident. That's why I said in the past 21 years, we were busy building our structures across the country.
So you were building your structure for 21 years, and we haven't heard much about NNPP.
Yes, I'm very happy
you have come out to say that you have just revamped the party 2 months ago.
No. What I said we were building our structure in the past 21 years. In the past 21 years, we have been winning this election. That was why I gave you the example of what happened in Bauchi State in 2019. As we speak today, we have a member of NNPP sitting in the legislature, in legislative house in Bauchi State. In the past, we have won elections. But typical of Nigerian politicians, we have won election in Ogun State, a chairmanship election in Ogun State. We have won election in Delta State before we arrive at February 2022. You see, while you say you didn't hear much about us, but because we were building the structure silently. It's like when you are building a house and you are putting together the blocks, the cements, the wood, the sand, the water. People will not notice until when the building is completed, when it's done with fine color paint, and then you say, this building is magnificent. I said, the coming of the former governor of Kano State into NNPP has only helped with the explosion, which I said is an explosion. So thank God the 2023 is around the corner. And thank God we will be able to test our popularity and our might by the time results are coming in. But from what report we get across the country, from people that come to us and talk to us, we know that we are solidly ready for 2023. It is election that will determine who is the party that is popular, and it is not the noise. Yes, because by our nature, we are not making noise, but definitely the noise must come. When people come and declare, because we don't want to mention a lot of people that have declared for the party, even sitting members of the legislature. We don't want to talk about that. But we are only waiting for the election that will definitely show Nigerians what we are capable of doing when it comes to election time.
All right, Mr. Olayoku, thanks for the clarifications that you've given so far. Okay, I have 2 questions for you now. First is to kindly put us through your specific plans towards the Congress that will lead to the primary, because it looks to a lot of people that what will happen on that day, and thankfully you are the chairman of the planning committee, is a coronation for the former governor of Kano State, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. Are there others who have obtained the form for presidency? And what are the things that you have lined up that will lead to either Kwankwaso emerging or people running against him? Because he's still an aspirant as far as we're concerned. Secondly...
yes, he is.
Sorry?
Okay. Okay, I'm listening.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
Okay. You mentioned the fact that you are not a third force, that you are the only first. But the facts on the ground do not point in that direction. We know that this is essentially all about Kwakwansia movement coming into your fold. Outside of a few people, Bauchi Ogun, and then lately, Dr. Jibrin joining you, dumping APC and his duties there as the DG of the Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu campaign organization and joining you. And then in the Southwest, people like Olopo Enyo, that is now your Southwest leader. We do not have an idea of your spread and structure that Oji talked about, nationally. So I would like you to answer those two questions before I ask you a third one, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Politics at times is like when you are going into a battlefield. The best strategy is that you don't expose the tactics you are going to use when you get to the battlefront, except the one you just use to push forward for what they call psychological warfare. But we know we have the spread. First of all, let me begin with the case of the aspirant that you mentioned, that Senator Musa Rabiu Kwankwaso. At times in politics, it requires a lot of boldness and strength for us to take some steps. And if you are not bold, if you are not courageous, if you don't have so much confidence in yourself, you might be discouraged from taking steps. When Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso joined us, it was like it was only a bold, a courageous politician that would have taken such a step. That because, like some people believe that NNPP was then a relatively unknown party, how do you now go and develop your structures that will enhance your possibility of getting presidency? So unfortunately, by the time of the close of nomination for the presidency, he was the only one that showed interest. And INEC has a guideline for every activities of political parties. There's a time for nomination, there's a time for submission, and when the submission window closed, it was about to close, he was the only one that was able to have the courage to pick the form. And that's why, for now, he remains the only political aspirant. And again, like we said, you asked the question about what are our plans for the National Convention. All these things are part of the electoral guideline released by INEC. INEC has a timetable, and according to INEC timetable, all your candidates for the 2023 election, when I say your, I mean political parties candidates for 2023 elections must have emerged. And all issues that have to do with the primaries that produce them must have been resolved by June 3rd, 2023. That is why our convention is coming on June 1st and June 2nd to, first of all, do like our national convention, and then to like our primaries for the presidential candidate. How did we arrive here? In the past 1 month, or what thereabout, we have been doing what we call the delegate selection, congresses that have produced people that are coming to vote on the day when we are going to have our presidential primaries. Also, in the past few months, in the past few weeks, we have also elected members of our candidates for the House of Assemblies across the country, our candidates for the House of Representatives across the country. But due to one reason or the other, we put on hold our Senate primaries. That is what will have produced our senatorial candidates for the 109 senatorial districts across the country. That one is going to resume sometimes next week, but everything will climax with the election of our presidential candidate on between June 1st and June 2nd, because we are expecting over about 2,000 delegates to come and cast their vote. So we expect that we must have a transparent program, because INEC will be there as the umpire to make sure that whatever we are doing is in line with the electoral guideline, is in line with our constitution, is also in line with the ground norm of the country, that is the constitution of the country. So we are prepared. We are said we have already put in place some subcommittees that will handle security, that will handle a lot of things, because we want INEC, because INEC also has their own template. also have their own score point, so that if you do anything that falls short of what INEC has set for you, then we don't want to have this example like the chairman of INEC told us in the interactive session we had with him. So I think we are set for the day, and then what we just need to do is we have arranged security for our people, because if our people are coming from all over the country, we should ensure that they are secured. We should ensure that they have good, comfortable accommodation, so that they will go back with memorable experience. And I think we are set for that day. We hope that to have a hitch-free national convention / presidential primaries on that day.
What day have you picked and where? Is it in Abuja? Have you picked a particular day?
Yes, it's in Abuja. We are having it in Abuja.
When is it?
Yes, I said June 1st / June 2nd.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Just for emphasis.
Because we are going to, first of all, have our NEC meeting on the 31st of May.
Okay.
Because all these things have been lined up because they are in line with the electoral guideline.
That's correct.
And we are as a party that believes so much in the rule of law, we are doing everything according to the guidelines released by INEC.
All right, Mr. Olayoku, just a quick one. I mean, we would have loved to ask our elder statesman, Buba Galadima, this question, but unfortunately, as we said earlier, he couldn't be part of this particular interview. There was an interview that he granted to a station, not Arise TV, in which Mr. Galadima, Alhaji Galadima, spoke in a manner that was not very complimentary to a journalist on live television. When he said that, told the anchor that he hoped that, something was not wrong with his brain. And I would like to ask you, as a journalist yourself, if it was a reporter, the editor of your platform, the Maritime First newspaper, that an elder statesman in your party had addressed in such a manner, how would you have taken it? And I would like to ask again, have you apologized? Has your party apologized? Has Malamba Galadima apologized to that anchor person, the journalist, who was insulted by his remarks on live television? So that people do not think that a big man in NNPP does not have respect for people in the media.
Yes, as a media person, because I belong to the class of people that believe that once a journalist, always a journalist. If you look at our party, because like I told you, the man who started this political party, that's Dr. Boniface Okechukwu-Anebonam, is now the chairman of BOT. There's no association of journalists in Lagos that this man is not a patron to. So the party, as an organization, will never disrespect this profession, not to talk of the individuals. But as to the particular question you asked me, I must be sincere with you. I had it somehow because I didn't watch the program, and it has not come up as a thing to be discussed at the party level. Now that you have raised it, I'm going to ask Buba Galadima, is an elder statesman. Buba Galadima is also a friend of the media because there's no media house that he has not featured me. And I would have loved to ask him if actually this thing that really happened. But like I said earlier, I didn't watch the program.
It's all over the social media. It has gone viral. It's all over the social media. Maybe you might want to check it.
Unfortunately, because of the nature of my job as National Secretary, because in the past 1.5 or 2 months, it's been hectic for members of the NWC. It's like we hardly sleep at all. So I must confess, I have not been able to go to social media. I hardly watch television in the past, because like yesterday, like this morning, I came back to my hotel room around 1:30 a.m. from a meeting. And because a friend, and just to let you know how we hold the profession in high esteem, I was invited for this program around 11 o'clock yesterday. But because as a friend of journalists, as a friend of the media, I just have to make sure I got here today. I got here immediately after 7, just to let you know how we respect the profession, just to let you know how we respect journalists. So it's not in our nature, it's not in our character to disrespect or abuse anybody that is practicing this trade. Like I said, I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to find out if actually it happened. Then the party will, as a party that respects the profession of journalism, as a party that respects the media, I think we are going to talk about it. But like I said, I have not watched the program, and that is being very sincere with you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, of course, I mean, there is no doubt about where you're throwing your weight, and that's mightily behind Rabbi Musa Kwankwaso, of course. But let's talk about what makes him, in your opinion, a formidable contender for Nigeria's highest office. And of course, we were talking earlier in response to Oji's question about you 22 years old, you say your party is, but just very recently reinvigorated, one could say. Question is, let's talk about, do you have the muscle to contend with these heavyweights? That is still a question on the mind of every electorate. We cannot forget that. And it's refreshing to see, of course, that you are championing the cause of your party. But there are still some blurred lines. And could you just educate us as to how your party intends to win a presidential race that is so stiff?
Thank you very much. You talked about our leader, that is Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. His antecedents are there for people to talk about. His exploits, yes, I want to use the word, his exploit in Kano State for the 8 years that he was governor are still there. They are still the reference point. Now we're talking about development in Kano State. When he was Minister for Defense, Nigerians can say, yes, at least the security situation wasn't as bad as we have it now. Now you're talking about we don't have big wigs. Who are the big wigs in Nigeria? The Nigerian masses, not the people with deep pocket, not the people with mansions. The real big men in Nigeria are the masses, because without their ballot paper, without their votes, they are the real men. And if we're able to appeal to them, if we're able to have them within our fold, I don't think we don't need any big man again. Because even the big man you're talking about, if no matter the billions he controls, he has only one vote. So both the big man in our interpretation and the big man in the real sense of it, which are the Nigerians, I think we have them on our side. If you have those people on your side, then why are you afraid of going into any election? Because they are the ones that goes to vote. And interestingly, these big men that we see as big men, how many of them go out to go and queue and vote on the day of election? Instead, many of them will be watching Arise television. Many of them will be watching even foreign television stations to know what is happening out there at the polling unit and polling booth.
Please don't confuse the term heavyweights with big men. I don't refer to big men when I say heavyweights. I'm talking about heavyweights in terms of exposure, how much people understand about their structure, how much time they have been in the system, in the political circle. So please, no misconstrued thoughts on that, please.
Whether you call them big man or you call them heavyweight, I am still saying the same thing, that the really heavyweight are the Nigerian voters. The Nigerian voters that knows what has been their experience in the past 20 or 24 years to enter this, join this democratic dispensation. The real Nigerians know what has become of their life. You go out there and talk to Nigerians. They are tired of what they are experiencing. They are looking for something different. So I think to us, those are the real heavyweights. Because the deaf heavyweight you are talking about can no more sit down in their room and be controlling votes that is happening about 10, 15 kilometers away from them. They are not the ones that will go to the polling booth. The real people that will go to the polling booth to go and queue inside the sun, inside the rain, to us are the real heavyweight. And they are the ones that really have the vote. The heavyweight we are talking about don't vote. In the past, they used to say, okay, this is the direction we are going to follow. But I don't think an average Nigerian wants to follow that trend now, because this is one thing they have been doing in the past 20, 24 years. Do you think Nigerians will want to go through that route again? No. Nigerians know that they have their destiny in their hands now. They have to do something different, because they have been doing it in the past, what has become of their lives. And they know that they need to do something. How many children go to school now? For the past 1 or 2 months, our children have been at home because lecturers are on strike. It's not like lecturers don't want to work, but if you enter into an agreement with the government, and for the past 15, 20 years, the agreement has not been implemented, Nigerians know that something is wrong. So there's no heavyweight that will now go and tell them that, okay, your children have been at home for 2 months, go follow this direction. They will tell the man that, okay, to the extent of history. So we don't have any problem. Because the setting for in Nigeria now is giving us an opportunity to even tell Nigerians that there's need for them to do what they call paradigm shift. So we don't, the already campaigns have been done on our behalf. Because we are talking about the main two political parties. And we now have something that is different from them. Nigerians want to look at, okay, can't we try this alternative? So I think the campaigns, everything on ground is even to our great advantage. Perhaps we might not even need much money. We might not even need much campaign to do because the Nigerian government, the people we call the heavyweight, have done the campaign for us. This thing is not a secret. It is what Nigerians experience every day. And I don't think Nigerians are patiently and anxiously waiting for the elections to start before they teach us some of the heavyweight we talk about, a lesson of their life. We can't continue this way. Right. Nigerians know that something has to change. And that is why we are very confident that come 2023, we stand a better chance of winning the election.
All right, so you have said that your aspirant, Kwankwaso, is the only aspirant, and so he will be returned unopposed, right, as your party's candidate. So I ask again, because I had asked earlier, how does your candidate or aspirant intend to secure southern votes? I know that he has secured the Popular Conferencia movement in the north. How does he intend to secure the southern votes? And how confident are you that Nigerians are ready for another northerner after 8 years of Buhari rule?
Yes, as to what is going to happen on the day, because you said the votes, according to the electoral guideline, even if you have one single candidate, there must still be what they call elections to make sure that that candidate will scale through. Now, as to the issue of how spread, because you are saying something about only in the north, like I said, a lot of people are with us. Nigerians are with us. These are Nigerians that we don't know as heavyweight. These are Nigerians that know that their life has got to change. Now, on the issue of can Nigeria afford another northerner? Well, to us in NNPP, we see all Nigerians as one. We don't see you as a northerner. We don't see you as a southerner. We see you as somebody, do you have what it takes to liberate Nigerians? And I think that is you see, the unfortunate aspect of it is we allow some political parties, to dictate to us what Nigerians want. But when you go out on the streets there, a lot of Nigerians, majority of Nigerians are not bothered about where the president comes from or where the governor that is ruling them. What they want is this man that is coming, among this lot, who is the person that seems to have what it takes to help Nigeria out of the problem that we are. And that is the simple mind of an average Nigerian. An average Nigerian is not bothered about where you come from. His concern is, this is what I'm experiencing. Can this man give me a break? And that is going to be it. So to us in NNPP, in simple terms, we don't see Nigeria as from the north or Nigeria from the south. We see Nigeria as Nigeria and one entity. And that is our stand.
All right, Mr. Olayoku, before we let you go, just a quick question from me. One, how is Kano looking for you? Because it looks like with the Kwankwaso movement, a lot of movement is happening. Who will fly the flag of your party at the gubernatorial election in Kano? And more importantly, will NNPP be open to, I won't say mergers, but a kind of alignment and realignment after the primaries towards the general election? The permutation is that if certain bigwigs, you don't like that expression, but then if certain bigwigs in either of the main parties, APC or PDP, lose out at the primaries, the permutation is that they might want to move some of their people to either your party or to SDP, which are clearly one of the most popular ones after the two main parties. Will there be the possibility, therefore, that you can choose to work with those who lose out at either the APC or the PDP and then look for a way to forge an alliance and go for the presidency?
Yeah, let me start with the first question, sir. The Kano issue. It's not only in Kano that things are happening. Like I said, things are happening all over the country. And the reports are there for everybody to see. In Kano, because we are yet to do our primaries, so it is now premature for us to know who's going to fly our flag. But definitely we are going to have our primaries, that is for the governorship, on the 30th of this month. The process was put on hold for certain reason. We were supposed to have it maybe today or tomorrow, but because of certain reason, we put the process on hold for the senatorial and the governorship. Now, to the issue of how receptive or how open are we. In politics, the more the merrier. Let me use my language here in Yoruba land. One guy used to tell us that in politics, and you see, when we are talking about rescuing this our great country, it requires collective responsibility. Yes, everybody has to be involved. So anybody who is willing to join us that believes so much in our focus, our attention, because our attention is how do we make sure that an average Nigerian does not sleep with penury, does not sleep with poverty, and does not wake up in not knowing what is going to happen in the day. Anybody who is willing to come to join us, we are open to such a person, but nothing will make us to distract from our focus. The focus is how do we provide the best government for the best governance for Nigerians come 2033. Anybody who is willing to join the train will stop at whether we get to the train station or not, we'll stop and pick such a person. So this is an opportunity for, I'm also saying this, that whoever is willing to join us, that will not distract us, that will not change our focus and change our attention, we are receptive. We are open, our doors are open, our windows are open for even those who want to come through the window, because the duty of rescuing our country requires all hands must be on deck. Things have deteriorated so bad that it requires everybody who desires a new Nigeria. And the door is open for them. NNPP is willing to accept anybody who is willing to join the train, because we have our slogan, which is saving our democracy and rescuing our nation. That's our goal as we go into 2023. Anybody who believes in that is a friend, and they are open. We are ready for them. We are ready to receive them.
All right, yeah. Mr. Olayoku, we want to thank you so much for coming on the program and having this chat with us today. Of course, our collective interest is a new and reinvigorated Nigeria. Thank you for being with us this morning.